Well, you are looking at live visuals coming from Impangeni Memorial, where President Cyril Ramaphosa has arrived at the memorial. He will be laying a wreath at this particular memorial, and we're told this is very significant as this speaks to the involvement of SANDF, the military, the strongest military force in Africa, and we are partaking, or we rather did partake in several of the world wars. World War I, as you know, SS Mendi, some of our troops perished out at sea in the English Channel. 600 of them lost their lives. And at this Armed Forces Day that we usually commemorate every single year in provinces across the country, we're finding ourselves in Richards Bay today. So the ceremony will be taking place in Richards Bay, but live visuals on your screen right now of President Cyril Ramaphosa laying a wreath at Impangeni Memorial. And this is where some of the troops in World War II, troops that took part in one of the wars. The wreath has been laid, and you know, some people, this is very significant for us. As we know, the Navy has said that they are going to be moving the Navy base from Durban to Richards Bay. And just speaking to, you know, Captain Prince Shabalala, talking about moving the base back to Richards Bay. We have the naval island here, and it's really synonymous as we are basically bringing SS Mendi troops back to where it all started.
Indeed, Jade. In fact, I was speaking to Captain Shabalala before you had an interview with him, and I was asking him about the significance of basically holding this commemoration here in Richards Bay. You'd recall, of course, that in 2017 it was held in Durban, and you fast forward now, it's being held here in Richards Bay, and we've been here for perhaps about 6 days, just observing the proceedings and the preparations for this all-important day. And we've spoken to a number of citizens and South Africans who reside in this particular area of Richards Bay, and many of them, of course, singing praises to members of the South African National Defence Force for the work that they do for the country, Jade, importantly, and also the some of the missions that they have to conduct in the African continent. Of course, we know that many of them have been deployed in peacekeeping missions in countries such as the Democratic Republic of Congo,
yes,
where we recently lost one member of the South African National Defence Force. As you can see, as our viewers can see there, the President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, having a brief interaction. I believe that's the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Nomusa Dube, after, of course, having laid those wreaths there, Jade. But of course, the day is a very important one, and of course, it's about members of the South African National Defence Force. You and I, Jade, were speaking earlier on about what actually transpired as that ship was sinking.
Yes.
And you read me a very beautiful quote, a touching quote. I don't know if you can share with our viewers what was said when that ship sank, which resulted in, of course, the loss of over 600 lives.
Yes. I'm just going to read a couple of lines, and this was exactly what was read by Reverend Isaac Worship Dober. And he was heard calling out, "Be quiet and calm, my countrymen, for what is taking place is exactly what you came to do. You are going to die, but that is what you came to do. Brothers, we are drilling the death drill. I, Xhosa, say you, my brothers, Zulus, Swazis, Pondos, Basutus, and all others, let us die like warriors. We are the sons of Africa. Raise your war cries, my brothers. For though they made us leave our assachais back in the kraals, our voices are left with our bodies." And that was such a beautiful, beautiful prayer by the Reverend, the chaplain on the boat, but also calling on those members not to be fearful, not to be scared, but they are doing this for their country. And like you said, some 600 men lost at sea on that fateful day.
Indeed, Jade, and it speaks to paying the ultimate price, of course, that members of the South African National Defence Force are always ready, to pay, basically, essentially with their lives. And today it's all about, acknowledging that role, and of course celebrating their contribution in ensuring that you and I are safe at all times in this country. And of course, we are going to be continuing with this broadcast throughout the day, as the President of the Republic of South Africa, in his capacity as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, will take a salute and also, address these members of the Defence Force that are going to be converging here. I can see a number of them already here, by the way, Jade. And of course, throughout the week, we've been having an opportunity to observe the work that they do. And by that, I mean, we've seen a number of demonstrations. When people speak about SANDF, Jade, they often imagine soldiers carrying big machine guns and walking around like that. But there's quite a lot of work that is being done in different categories within the South African National Defence Force. There's the South African Military Health Services. Yeah. There's also the Navy. There's also the, you remind me as we go along, but there are just various components within the South African National Defence Force. And I suppose that many people in this country or in this part of the province were enlightened about that kind of work that they do, and also what the SANDF stands for.
You know what I think is very important is it's taking it back to the people. We often hear of SANDF, what they're doing, the peace, meetings across the country, being deployed in, Mozambique. And we had the opportunity to also go onto some of the warship vessels, SS Mendi, SAS Proteus, speaking to the captains of that ship, the importance of the ships, what they are used for. And SAS Proteus is 51 years old this year, and we're talking to the captain of that ship and saying that that ship is going to be decommissioned very soon, but the importance of the ship, what it entails, the history that it has as well. So yes, in as much as we are celebrating Armed Forces Day and commemorating the SS Mendi members who perished out at sea in the English Channel, we're also taking the army back to the people, also enforcing what SANDF means, what it stands for, but also engaging with the public. And for those that also want to join, I suppose it's also a great opportunity for recruitment. So it's going to be quite an exciting day. I myself am excited to see the Navy parade, as well as the military parade, and as well as the Air Force. They're going to probably put on a spectacular performance. Indeed, that's what we've been witnessing throughout the week, Jade. And of course, speaking about the process of recruitment that has been done, in the past few days, we've seen thousands of young people really queuing up, trying to secure their spots within these very few vacancies that are available with the SANDF. Of course, we know there are issues of budgetary constraints that are facing various departments within the country. But of course, we saw those young people saying that they also, want to be part of the SANDF and make a name and also serve their country. And I believe that the President is now going to be making his way here, where the official program is going to be conducted. And of course, before that, Jade, we are going to be seeing a parade behind us where we are, where we'll see members of the Defence Force making that parade. And of course, after that, then the President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, in his capacity as the Commander-in-Chief, will then be able to address the gathering. Exactly, and I can actually hear that music, Sim, so it's about to get very interesting here. We are going to be also saying goodbye to our morning live viewers and hello to the agenda as we start right now. Just bringing you up to speed, we are at Armed Forces Day here in Richards Bay, bringing you blow-by-blow coverage of Armed Forces Day. The military is expected to conduct a parade. We are told that President Cyril Ramaphosa is leaving Empangweni. That's where a wreath-laying ceremony took place this morning, and he'll be making his way here for the official address of Armed Forces Day. So there are quite a number of issues, Jade, that face the South African National Defence Force. You would recall during the very unfortunate July riots in 2021, where we had the province basically, that was up in arms. People were busy looting the shops, and we saw the critical role
that was played by members of the SANDF, although of course some were very critical of the manner in which they were conducting their business. And I was having a conversation earlier on with the retired Lieutenant General Masondo, who is the military ombudsman, who was basically saying that from his observations we do have a few incidences of ill discipline within the SANDF, but of course overall painting a very a rosy picture of the work that the members of the South African National Defence Force do for the citizens of this country.
That's very true. And you and I both covered those riots in July of 2021, and it was absolutely devastating to see what occurred across the province, especially in Durban as well as Gauteng. And we did see SANDF members, troops being dispatched to some of the hotspots, Pietermaritzburg, trying to take control, and them also coming under flak. So rightfully so, we do have the men on the ground, and when they are called, we tend to question why they're taking that step into the communities. But I have also spoken to several of the commanders and chiefs, and they said to me that the SANDF is not only about the military wing, it's not only about Armed Forces Day, it's also about taking it to the people, basically showcasing and demonstrating their capabilities. So today is going to be a spectacular event. We will be able to see the demonstrations by the Army, the demonstrations by the Navy, and also the Air Force, but also showcasing us as South Africans, how they keep us safe. So
indeed, they do a very critical job that very few South Africans are willing to do, which is to lay down their lives for you and I. Well, we are going to continue with this live broadcast here, as of course we expect proceedings to get underway, and of course the President of the Republic of South Africa is already in this vicinity. We've seen him earlier on laying a wreath there with the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, Premier Nomusa Dube-Ncube. We believe that after that he will then make his way here, where he's going to be addressing the members of the South African National Defence Force, as of course under his capacity as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Well, it's back to studio for now, but of course we are going to be continuing with this rolling coverage here in Richards Bay.